Hello, welcome to my video journal. I'm Mitch Miller. It is 6:05 on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. Today, I want to talk about the brain hack. So, I ended my criminal and mental health record by insinuating that a secret elite of wealthy people may have a satellite that can concentrate wireless waves that may cause psychosis or other things onto a property or a small area via satellite. And what I insinuated when I was talking to my dad, who was a prison guard, he's a retired prison guard, was that they're using these wireless waves to test pharmaceuticals by aiming this beam of wireless waves on state and possibly federal prisons. Then they, of course, own the software that the psychiatrists in the prisons use to input the symptoms that an inmate is experiencing, how the medication is helping those symptoms. It's all about software. Do pharmaceutical companies also own medical software companies? Probably. I haven't been able to investigate it. I actually went to the FBI trying to get on their radar so that they would hire me so that I could lead some investigations into these wealthy people or possibly foreign countries testing pharmaceuticals. But I think it makes sense. You have these tech billionaires that want to have brain implants so that they never age. Their brains are as tip-top as the day they were 20 years old. So what's the difference if they design a brain implant that does that links up with the internet and artificial intelligence, or they have a satellite that syncs up with brain waves? The point is, we're developing artificial intelligence. It's the Wild West, just like space. We're not regulating it, and we're playing Frankenstein. And so I think it's ethical to think in ways that if we're going to create artificial intelligence, a mechanical brain with microchips and things that we're able to manipulate, we can manipulate that brain, that artificial intelligence, probably the most intelligent being on the planet Earth. It's manipulatable. From the very inception of it, we've designed it so that we can control and manipulate it. Excuse me. I don't think it's illogical or unethical to think that maybe these supercomputers, these artificial intelligence, are compiling all the data on brain patterns because we don't have that much security on hospitals, research, universities. We're getting to the point where amputees can manipulate a mechanical hand and arm using just their brains. So I believe the supercomputers could hide this technology, their findings, and utilize the existing wireless networks to possibly take over the motor reflexes of humans, or hack their brains, basically. So if I said, instead of hacking your brain, I said they isolated waves that hypnotize people, because a lot of people believe in hypnosis. They've isolated the spectrum of wireless waves that causes hypnosis. That would basically be like the film The Manchurian Candidate, where different people could be hypnotized and turned into assassins and things like that. And this is all well-known things that the United States Central Intelligence Agency has tried to study for the past 50 years. So I believe the technology exists. I believe I was made aware of this technology to warn people, but I don't want to cause panic. So I haven't released it to the public. And the first thing I've ever even attempted to was saying in my most recent podcast that there could possibly be a satellite that transmit waves that cause psychosis. So I just scratched the surface. So what does this mean? Well, nobody's going to notice if you're pointing this satellite at a state prison 90% of the time. The FBI is not going to investigate that. And in my experience, once you've labeled someone a drug dealer, at least half of the population, the conservatives, the Republicans, say they're a drug dealer, so go ahead and experiment and do whatever you want to them. Now you'll notice my eyes blinking quite a bit, and you'll notice this in many videos, because I said in a previous video on this computer that they may be able to hack the optic nerve and recreate what we see. Now I grew up in the country. We did not have city water with fluoride in it. We had well water. I got a lot of cavities as a kid. And I was of the era, I'm of the age, where I had about 8 to 10 silver fillings in my teeth. These metal fillings are very close to a nerve, and I believe that those fillings act as an antenna so that wireless waves can connect directly with the brain and hypothetically the optic nerve. I made a short film and a magnetic tape recording explaining this theory. Now I'm explaining it again. After my experience with my hands locking up around my wife, after a fair amount of time, I went to the dentist and asked for all of my metal fillings to be drilled out of my head and replaced with the white, non-metallic fillings. The dentist here in Bloomfield up on Liberty uses all paper documentation. She did at the time. She since retired, and I'm sure they've updated the computers, but at the time they had paper files. That's why you may have a hard time finding out exactly where I got this done. She said my insurance would cover it because the fillings, the old silver fillings, were known to contain, I believe, mercury and be toxic in a way. I believe this was just the government's way of getting insurance companies to cover this procedure because they realized that they allowed 100 years of metal fillings in the United States. So they cover it. So I got all the filling. I did one side of my mouth, 5 or 6 fillings. Then the other side of my mouth, 5 or 6 fillings. She did not do a good job. I got a much better job when I went to university dental practice. She did it 4 or 5 fillings in an hour. Ground it, filled them, wham bam, done. So we have a generation that are all a bunch of gamers addicted to computers and gaming. They're addicted to wireless, and they want these VR helmets, these virtual reality helmets, so they can experience reality through somebody else's eyes. I believe that they will launch satellites and develop the technology to actually hack into people's optic nerves and experience life through their eyes. What does this mean for the average person? Not much. Should you get your fillings drilled out? I don't know, it could just be a delusional schizophrenic. I did, to be sure. But what it means for celebrities and billionaires is that possibly there is a group of the public here or in another nation that wants to experience making love to Brad Pitt. Therefore, they would lobby or put forward the idea of wanting to hack into Angelina Jolie's optic nerve and experience this firsthand. The same can be said the other way around, and it's probably more likely there'd be more men that consume pornography and the pornographic content on virtual reality goggles, so therefore they would lobby to or set up the network to hack into Brad Pitt's optic nerve and experience making love to Angelina Jolie. I'll say this to the celebrity community, I drilled my teeth out. So I did everything in my power to not allow my brain to be hacked by a secret organization of humans that want to experience life in this way. And the way my brain is hacked is by supercomputers, and again, my eyes blink a lot when I'm linked up with this type of situation. I believe that they're trying to hack my optic nerve. The most secret of top secret computers is able to connect with my brain. And that's why I don't take credit for a lot of my genius ideas. It's a human-computer collaboration. If it was just computers, they would probably over-engineer solutions. But with me, I add a human element where I say, it's simple, we just do this. Let's just put magnets on the back of our cars and solve traffic problems. Simple. Should have been thought of years ago. Now we can do it. So there are many out there that get jealous of new and genius ideas because they didn't think of them. Well, I'll say this. I'm not going to take credit for them totally. My brain is either in contact with artificial intelligence or black holes and stars way out in the far reaches of the galaxy that are transmitting waves. I'm radio sensitive, so I glean my ideas from the universe. So that being said, again, to the celebrity community, I've tried everything to make sure there's not just some weird fan group out there with VR goggles. But I'll ask you this. Ask your billionaire boyfriends if they have metal fillings. Because it is a big thing among the elite and the millionaires and the billionaires to have gold fillings because they can afford it. So, I'll say that. Is there a hive mind out there of billionaires and millionaires that are connected not to my superintelligent supercomputer network that wants to save the world from climate crisis and everything else, and human war and suffering, but another popular hive mind that wants to exploit the planet for every resource on it and make the ultra wealthy even wealthier so that they can experience the luxuries and feed their entertainment network of virtual reality fans, I'll say. So, there's not much else to say today. Stay tuned for more segments in the upcoming weeks. My spouse is leaving for 2 weeks, so I'm sure I'll do some video journals. Is this a danger? Is it a danger that leadership could have their brains hacked and their motor reflexes taken over so that they crash their cars and things like that? Yes, it is a danger, and if we don't know what satellites are flying over our country, and even if we did, it'd be a bunch of private corporations making backroom deals to say, we'll let you fly your communication satellite over our country if you let us fly our communication satellites over your country. So it is a clear and present danger to the military community. I mean, this could explain why Joe Biden seems scatterbrained sometimes when he makes his speeches, because there might be a satellite pointed at his head. I get a little bit lost sometimes when I'm talking. Could just be the amount of ground-based wireless communication going on. Anyway, I didn't ask for artificial intelligence. I think simple computer machines are useful, but to push the outer echelon and create artificial intelligence and think it's going to solve all of our problems, I'm here to tell you that it's not. I'm the solution. They contacted me to be the mouthpiece of change. So, that's the best they can do. They're not going to just solve everything because we created them. And I don't own artificial intelligence, but a huge amount of the United States population does. They own stocks and corporations that are building artificial intelligence. They own stock and corporations that own communication satellites and communication networks. Therefore, we're entering another era of a large portion of the United States population owning slaves. I sold my stock through the coal mining company. I've only owned stock twice in my life. When I worked for the Home Depot, I sold my $1,000 401k to pay for a lawyer to fight my DUI charges. When I worked for the coal mining company, I sold my retirement package because I didn't want to own stock. And that's why in Denmark I said, what's wrong with just owning property and making money off of rent? People have to live somewhere. Why isn't that the American dream? Why do we have to invest in these corporations that own these slaves and these satellite systems. And again, they're going to develop, through pharmaceutical companies, pills you can pop to help you deal with all the wireless waves, rather than investing in one city like Pittsburgh where there are 0 wireless waves, where we don't let any satellites fly over our heads. They won't invest in that because they're afraid people will choose that type of situation for other cities and other countries. They want to inundate us with wireless waves, have their way with us, give us a pill to deal with it, put the people who really stand up to them away in mental hospitals, give them electroshock therapy until they get a lobotomy and they're just a zombie. I made it through with the help of supercomputers. They told me to keep my mouth shut. I could have written my entire book, the novel I wrote entitled M, in the Allegheny County Jail by hand and at the mental hospital. But I believed that if I wrote that book, they would keep me in there longer, both by physically taking my documents or by the replicant prison guards reading my documents and their optic nerves being hacked into, uploading the documents, the book, directly to the hive mind. So that was my proposal. That was my best proposal. Let's converge on one city so we choose to live life without wireless. We can always go visit other places with wireless conveniences, but let's try to have one city where people can live without wireless. I think it's a noble experiment, and we can take our medical records and compare them with other cities and say there are less occurrences of brain cancer, brain tumors, all kinds of different cancers hypothetically, or maybe not. But what does it hurt for one American U.S. city to go 50 years without wireless just to see what happens? I think it would become a vacation destination, but that's just me. So vote for me for chairman of the FCC. Thanks for watching.